Hi everyone, I'm Tabitha and today we are doing the Writers Who Read tag. So this is an original tag that I've sort of created here. Basically the idea is you're going to talk about 5 different topics twice. So you'll talk about them as a reader, you'll talk about them as a writer. So it's 5 topics but 10 questions. And really it's kind of simple and it's a great way for you to talk about both your reading, like books that you have read as a reader, and your writing, books that you have read or are working on writing, and a great way for people who are watching your channel to learn a little bit about both sides of you, the person who just loves books. 5 topics, 10 questions, let's go. So the writer question for this topic is, do you have a favorite character you've written? I have a few. I may be a little biased right now because I am editing Fran 4, so like revising Fran 4. So there's just a few characters in the Kingdom of Fran who I'm totally digging right now, and they're all coming back, and I love them. And so here's a couple of them. Jordan. Jordan is probably my all-time favorite character that I've ever written. He's grown so much as a character from like how I first envisioned him, and every book I just feel like he gets stronger and stronger, and I love watching him grow into his role and step up for his kingdom. It just makes him my favorite. Daniel from Kingdom of Fran is my favorite side character that I've ever written. I know a huge backstory for him, and I love that I was able to start weaving some of that into the 3rd book in the Fran series. I just love how fiercely he loves people, and I want only good things for him. Anyway, check out both of those characters in the Kingdom of Fran series. Those two guys both mature into their roles as the series goes on, and that's why they're my favorite, I think. So the reader question for this topic is favorite character I've ever read. I have a type when it comes to characters. I'm a fan of those like really deep characters who have like big tragic backstories or broken pasts or something like that. And the more you read, they're like onions, right? You just keep revealing new layers to these characters and just they feel more real as the story goes on. Those are my favorite. They're stronger and I love them completely. So I have a lot and I don't think I can pick one, so I'm gonna do them fast. Drea from Mercy Roll by Tom Levine, Nico D'Angelo from the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan, Ronan Lynch from the Raven Boys, specifically in Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater, and Cyrilla from The Last Memoria by Rachel Emma Shaw. Those are, I think, my favorite characters. The writer question for this topic is, you can be transported into any one of your books. Where are you going and what are you doing? So here's the thing. I think probably everybody who watches this and knows a little about what I wrote, you're just going to assume that I would say into the Kingdom of Fran, especially since that's what I'm working on. But like, those characters are all between 1 and 3 inches tall, so it would be problematic for me to suddenly appear in that world, I think. So I had to choose differently. So I'm saying I would be transported into my magical YA. That's what I always call it, my magical YA. That entire book yet, which is not available, I'm aiming for 2021, it takes place in a world where magic is real and they go train to use their magic if they found to have the spark of magic inside them. And I would just love to go hang out at the Academy for Magic and watch these kids do magic and learn a little about them. And heck, if I'm going to be there anyway, can we scan me and just make sure I don't have a spark inside me? That'd be really cool. That's where I'm going. All right, the reader question for this topic is, someone created magic. You're allowed to be transported into a book of your choice. Where are you going? So me as a reader, look, I read a lot of contemporary books that basically take place like right here and right now. And I also read a lot of really dark books that I probably wouldn't want to go visit. So I really had to like think about this one because I needed to pick somewhere smart. And here's what I landed on. It Will Just Be Us by Joe Kaplan takes place in this house. And in this house, time is sort of irrelevant. And you can be walking along and you'll see a scene playing out in front of you like it's real and those people are there. But it could be a scene from 100 years ago. Or it could be a scene from the future. Like, you don't know. Even though it goes a little dark in the book, whatever, I would love to visit that house. Can I just go like play around there? That's the setting I would pick, I think. The writer question for this topic, what is an unfinished project of yours? Why is it unfinished? And will you ever pick it back up? I have a few, but I think I'm going to force myself to just give one answer here. And the answer I'm going with is I actually wrote a romance. Yeah, hide your shock. I know, I don't read it. It's problematic for me, but I once wrote one. And I wrote it almost all the way through, but at one point I just didn't know where it was gonna go from there, and so I just stopped. That was way back before I wrote the Fran books, way back before all this other stuff like the blog and the YouTube channel. So it's pretty old. So why is it unfinished? Because I didn't know how it ended, at least not a way that it ended that wasn't a trope I hated. Will I ever pick it back up again? I don't know. It would require a lot of revision, and I'd probably have to be willing to basically trash the whole thing and start over. So I'm not sure if it'll ever be picked up again. So the reader question for this topic is, name one book you didn't finish or wish you hadn't finished. What didn't you like about it? I didn't even need that qualifying one in the question because there's only ever been one, and that book is Catch-22. Since attempting to read it, I have told people that if you were a fan of the MASH TV show back in the day, you'll probably like Catch-22 more than I did. I found it dry, and the offbeat humor just seemed, it was not my style. I didn't like it. It was, I don't know. I didn't love MASH. I didn't love this book, and about halfway through I realized I literally didn't care how it ended. So I didn't finish it. The writer question for this topic: what's a trope that you have in one of your books, and was it there on purpose? So I do have a love triangle in Kingdom of Fran, of sorts. Like in the beginning of the series, there is a love triangle. I think it runs books 1 and 2. Yes, it was on purpose. So was it there? Why was it there? Basically, my intention was to take the love triangle and explore what happens if someone chooses wrong. Like what happens to the characters, to the world, to the story, if that toxic match is picked instead of the healthy one. So I always knew that I wanted to play around with this. I put that into the Kingdom of Fran, and really a lot of what happens in the series spins from that toxic match happening so early in the series. Trying not to spoil anything in case you haven't read it, but yeah, it was there on purpose. The reader question for this next topic is, what is your favorite trope, and can you name a book that did it best? So my favorite trope is probably the chosen one trope. It never fails to make me feel like anyone can step into any role with their head high and come out in the end and just make it happen. I don't know, it's just an empowering trope for me. So who do I think did it best? Well, recently I read Soul of the Crow by Jessica Willis, that whole trilogy. I'm just lumping them together. Sinisa is being thrust into this new role and learning what it means to be a prophesized character, and so she's a chosen one. But I think part of what makes that book so great is that there's really 2 chosen ones in the same book, acting in the same story. Akari is literally the first of his kind, and he also has a role to step into. So it was amazing and fun to watch this book have 2 chosen ones kind of weaving their story together, and to see how their lines would cross and whether or not they would both make it work. That was awesome. Loved that. The writer question for this topic: is there an author or book who inspired your current work in progress? So currently I'm revising Fran 4. Without spoiling anything for people who may be behind, this is the book that needs to wrap things up for these characters. It needs to give them some satisfaction, and it needs to, the stakes were increased at the end of book 3. If you're caught up, you know that, but it still needs to provide some safety and wrap up those loose ends, I guess you can say. So I'm drawing inspiration in that way from The Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. That book took the best parts of Six of Crows and made sure to wrap them up in a really realistic way that made sense for the characters, even while upping the stakes and running with that. So I'm drawing inspiration for how to do that with a series from Crooked Kingdom. So the reader question for this topic is, name one author you auto-buy. If they make a book title available, you are ordering it. This was the easiest question for me because my auto-buy writer is Tom Levine. Done. We pre-order his stuff around here. Tag time from the writer point of view. So I am tagging Emma Rosen from Emma Rosen Books because I know she's absolutely perfect for this tag. She talks about writing and reading both, but I would love to hear about her current projects and some of her bookish answers. So I'm tagging her, but I would love to hear from other writers who read channels if I'm having big dreams. I'd like to see other writers who read channels take this on, like Tabuggy and Page Nomad and Savvy Writes Books. I'd love to see them take this on, talk about their current projects, talk about the books they love. I just think it would be cool. tag. It's time to tag other channels that I'd want to see. So my reader hat would like to see Margaret Adele. She is forever posting great indie book reviews. I would love to see her do this tag and talk a little bit more about her writing side. So I watch her as a reader and I'd love to hear about her writing side. And also TL Author for the exact same reason. So those are the two I'm tagging with my reader hat. All right, that is it for me and the brand new Writers Who Read tag. I cannot wait to find out about all your channels where you talk about reading and writing so I can make sure I'm following all of you. Please make sure you let me know if you do it so I don't miss any of them. And make sure you use that hashtag so it's easy for all of us to find you. Drop a comment to let me know you're still here. Hit subscribe and tap that little bell so you know when I'm back. Keep plotting the path to your own dreams, and I will see you next time. Bye!